Nicolle Wallace is with us now, along with NBC's Kasie Hunt, who covers Capitol Hill. Ladies, good morning to both of you. Kasie, I'll start with you on the Hill. I know you're hearing a lot from different senators. Is there a real deep well of support for Brett Kavanaugh at this point, or do you think Republicans are nervous?
Savannah, in public, it's full speed ahead on Kavanaugh, but that's really a strategy from the Republican leadership to try to hold things together, because my sources are telling me that behind the scenes, there's actually a pretty wide group of Republican senators for whom this hearing is going to matter immensely and who could change their minds if it doesn't go the way, some would like it to for Brett Kavanaugh. We've been focused very clearly on three senators, Susan Collins, Lisa Murkowski, Jeff Flake. They still remain kind of the linchpins, the most critical group. But the fact that they are concerned that there could be more, I think, is very telling. And I do think that the one place where Brett Kavanaugh could really go wrong is if he is essentially caught in a lie. If there's a perception that he's not telling the truth, I think this could swing against him very quickly, Savannah.
Nicolle, what if this thing really does boil down to a he said, she said? What if at the end of the day you either believe him or you believe her? Then what? Like, what happens then?
Well, I mean, not a spoiler alert. That's where we're heading. I mean, this is. I talked to a source close to Kavanaugh who said he controls his own destiny. This is in his hands, and if he is viewed as credible, that is his only path to surviving this hearing today. But I think that if you look at Ford's account in the Washington Post, it's certainly a credible account of trauma and of pain, and I think that will be the task that Kasie just laid out for the Senate Republicans and Democrats.
What do you think of the president? He spoke at length at a news conference yesterday, and on the one hand saying he believes these allegations to be false, but then he said he could be convinced that he has an open mind and that he's going to watch.
Listen, I think having the president who is credibly accused of sexual misconduct himself defend you from accusations of sexual assault is double-edged. You need the president's support because you're his pick to the highest court in the land, but he's not exactly a credible fact witness in this body of, as Kasie just said, I've heard the same thing. There is a larger group of undecided senators on both sides of the aisle. So I'm not sure how reassuring that is. This is a mission. This has always been a mission. If you look at the decision to do that Fox News interview, all of these decisions have been to bring along a very small group of swing Republican votes. You can be confirmed with just Republican support, and the fact that he doesn't have it this morning makes his mission and his task all the more daunting.
And Kasie, this is a really delicate situation. Is there a point in here where some Republicans just say, you know what, this is a little too muddy. Why don't we just go ahead and put Brett Kavanaugh over here and go with our next person in line?
I think that's an entirely realistic possibility, Hoda, standing here at this hour of the day. We're going to obviously have to reassess once this hearing has concluded. But, I mean, if you think about what it's like to be Susan Collins or Lisa Murkowski, they're the two Republican women in the Senate who have been such a focus of this. This is going to be a history-making moment for them. This could potentially be what they are remembered for, depending on how this hearing goes today. And it's a lot to ask those women, especially in the context of this Me Too movement that we have been living through. There's going to be a lot of very emotional pressure on them. And my sources have also told me that, there's a little bit of a standoff and a push-pull because Mitch McConnell, the Republican leader, has literally made his life's work of shaping the court. And he's asking them to potentially do a very, very difficult thing. They may rather see him take the pressure off of them. So all of those dynamics are going to be at play over the next few hours.
All right, Kasie, thank you. Nicolle, thank you so much. A reminder, NBC News will have special live coverage of the hearing starting at 9:30 Eastern Time.